super delighted to have Mr. Vijay Sardana with us. He's an industry expert and veteran. And welcome to you, sir. Welcome to the Dairy Dialogues.
So, thank you very much, and thanks to your viewers, those who are watching this program.
I have seen you when I was just starting my career. You were talking in a seminar, and I was very curious, and I was just thinking, like, how can I become like this guy? How can I become like Vijay Sardana? So, just give us a hint for an aspirant. Like, where do you come from? Where did you grow up? What kind of choices did you make that led you to become the Vijay Sardana that we know of?
Prashant, thank you very much. And once again, let me convey my regards to all the viewers, those who are watching around the world. See, my journey started in a small town called Bikaner, which is again part of desert. My father was in railways. My mother was in railways hospital. So up to middle class, my schooling was in Bikaner. After that, I studied in military school. So after military school, I studied in my board exams in a sports school. So you can understand that I am not a normal student. It was always something else, and study was always an extra, not a main line.
Yeah.
So either it was a military school or it was a sports school. You know, early age, these things change the way you look at the world.
Yeah.
You look differently because you are groomed, you are trained in a different environment. So as my schooling was that I was not a very good student, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I always have a curiosity to learn something new, which is more where I can contribute with my own skill sets and with my own knowledge.
Gee.
And when after schooling, when this tussle was going on in the family that what kids should do, and suddenly one fine day we were exploring various options. Okay, whether and IT was not something which I was excited. Other things I was not aware because at that time there were only 2-3 trade, either doctor or engineer or some diploma. That was the trade during our time.
Yeah.
And none of them was exciting to me. So we were looking into what we should do. So one fine day, my father got a letter from his friend from Jaipur. There is a new course called dairy technology.
Yeah.
So my father said, why not let's go and explore. So he was thinking about my career, and I was thinking because this college is in Udaipur and I never visited Udaipur. It's a nice tourist place. Let us go.
Yeah.
So destination was common, but objectives were different.
Yeah.
So we went to Udaipur, and we went to college. We saw the course curriculum and everything. And as a parent, he was concerned, so he gone into details of that. And I was more interested when we can get out and go for some tourism activity. So that was the whole thing. And then in the process, because parents know kids better than what we sometimes assume.
Yeah.
So my father knew my strengths and weaknesses, and during that discussion, he said, Vijay, if you look into the course, out of 6 hours classes every day, 4 hours is practical, only 2 hours is theory. Mm-hmm. So I think this is as per your temperament.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, that is great. So I think because more of a lecture means more of a practicals, less of a theory, it means less of a paperwork and more of we have to do something in lab or pilot plant or other things. I think this suits me.
Yeah.
That was the only criteria. Not that whether it is a dairy science or what science. That was not priority. Priority was less of a education, more of a practical. Means less of a theory, more of a practice.
Yeah.
That was the whole approach.
Mm-hmm.
So when we took the admission, and when I joined the course, one of the worst environment which I found was that every senior was telling you have joined a wrong profession.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is no scope. After all, after dairy technology, we will go to dairy plants, and everybody is not, there are not millions of dairy plants in the country. There are hardly few, maybe 50, 100, 200 plants. Mm-hmm. And they all are occupied with the seniors, those who already passed out.
Yeah.
So there was no vacancy. So what you will do?
Mm-hmm.
When you will come out of the campus after 5 years, there will be 4 more batches ahead of you. And there were 3 colleges at that time in India dedicated for dairy technology.
Yeah.
One was in Karnal, another was in Anand, and then in Udaipur. Mm-hmm. And then I think just started in Patna. Mm-hmm. So these were the colleges. And then we're saying yes. And that created some form of whether we are in a wrong profession or a right profession.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big tussle between me and my father. I think we have taken a wrong decision. Why we joined dairy?
Yeah.
And actually, I fought with him. I think I should quit this course and go back to my BSc and I continue what I was trying to do it.
Yeah.
But I think my father gave me one of the best advice ever I got in my life. He was very upset. He says, "Why you are behaving like this?" He says, "I don't want that after degree you look for job. I'm sending you there for education. And if you are doing best in your line, what will look for you? If you are a mediocre, nobody needs you. Let's be very clear.
Precisely. Yeah. Yeah.
That is first condition. Second, if you are studying your course properly and if you know your subject well, why can't you set up your own dairy plant? Why can't you set up your own dairy business? Because world is looking for good quality dairy products and everybody is suffering because of adulteration, quality problem, and so many other things. Even there are large number of dairy plants, but the problem is that consumers are not happy. So there is always a scope for a good quality.
Yeah.
So why not you learn and come back and I'll give you money to set up your own small dairy business. So don't look for jobs and don't waste time in writing such useless letters to me that I'm in a wrong profession and there is no job or no life. This is all nonsense. Focus on your work, be the best in your line, and we will only talk after 5 years. Now, no more such discussions. I think that was a very important message because that blocked all excuses at my end.
Yeah.
Means
Yeah.
now nobody is going to listen to me. My father is not listening, so who else will listen to me? That gave me a sense of responsibility and also a trigger. Okay, now I have 5 years. Let me do whatever I have. Now let's do the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that gave me a good foundation. Start looking into dairy technology, not from a job point of view, but from an entrepreneurship point of view.
Awesome. Yeah.
So everything what I studied in my college was from an entrepreneurship point of view. Okay, I have to do end of the day something for me.
Yes.
It is not that I will be comfortable in job. And I think that restlessness or that insecurity, whatever you call it, helped me in shaping up my studies and my career. So after my graduation, when I came out of college, I was very clear that I know how to handle milk, but I don't know how to get milk from the farmers. So after completing my degree, instead of going to corporate, I joined an NGO in Rajasthan that NGO was working with farmers. So I joined there as a technical officer and then I started interacting with farmers and started addressing their problems. Like in desert area, it was like there was no water. So I was teaching farmers how to do agriculture with water, doing a lot of other small things like fodder camps, family planning camps. It was everything like a part of a social ecosystem.
Yeah.
It was no more like a job.
Mm-hmm.
That gave me a lot of confidence that how farming community thinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are the priorities of farmers? How they make decisions? What influences them? Because once you know your suppliers, that is farmers, then you can plan it better. That completed my understanding about dairy. Technology and management from the college and understanding about production system and farmers in working in villages.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had about 120 villages to work in.
Wow. Wow.
So that gave me a lot of interesting insights, which is helping me till date.
Yeah.
So that was a strong foundation.
Yeah. I can draw two very significant parallels between your journey and mine, because I also joined a course where I didn't have to study mathematics, but I ended up studying a subject that had a lot of mathematics. So, and this is where I was actually struggling, and I asked my father, and I also get something very similar advice from him. So he said, like, you cannot run away every time. Like, there would be a time when you would say, okay, I don't have any other scope. So like, you have to fight the challenge. So that was one thing. Second thing, like learning about the markets, as you said, like how to procure milk, you learn from the farmers. And I must say, like, I have like gone through several career transitions, but the best and the fundamental learning about India that I got was from a small village in Damoh in Madhya Pradesh. So collecting milk, only 1,000 liters from a tribal belt. And this actually taught me how Indian dairy actually functions. So yeah, like super interesting.
So after my dairy, then I realized that I think graduation is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go for higher studies.
Yeah.
So for studies, then after a year in villages, I came back to Delhi and joined Gaylord ice creams in Delhi. At that time, Gaylord ice cream was very popular ice cream. So I joined in production and quality. And that gave me practical experience. So we used to make about 30, 40 types of ice creams. That was my first interface with the workers' union.
Mhm.
And I was very clear that hygiene has to be maintained in factory, and it was very difficult for the workers to understand about hygiene. So
Mhm.
now I said, obviously, we cannot have a split mindset in life that I only look after factory, but workers' restroom, workers' toilet, workers, other kitchen area is so dirty and filthy. And then I say maintain hygiene in, production area. That is not possible.
Mhm.
Hygiene has to be culture. It cannot be a business operation.
Mhm.
Once they realized that I'm really honestly interested in hygiene and care, they started supporting.
Mhm.
And then all the issues which we used to face with labor and rest and all these problems, I think was taken care, and things and quality and wastage, all those things we were able to control. While I was doing that work, then I got admission in, I appeared for this junior fellowship of ICAR. And while working in the factory, I was realizing that dairy is becoming an expensive food. But common man needs good quality food in affordable price. Dairy cannot do that.
Yeah.
So we have to have a blend of food to make a nutritious, affordable, good quality food. Dairy industry or dairy technology cannot give me that skill. I have to diversify from dairy to food.
Mhm.
So then I diversified to masters in food technology. Got, for example, job in Nestle Nanjangud, which is a coffee factory. I said, what will be my job? You are trained as a dairy food technologist, so you can take care either my quality or quality assurance or R&D or whatever. I can't do the same coffee, morning analysis, evening, every day, same coffee, same analysis, same test. I'll go mad.
Mhm.
That is not my temperament. I need something else. Then I went to Alpha Level. I was meeting their general managers and senior managers in conferences, dairy industry conference, IDA conferences.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
was familiar with them. So I went to them and they said, we have no job. And we are an engineering company and you are a technologist. It doesn't work. So then after a second round of discussion, I gave a proposal to the general manager at that time.
Mhm.
I said, sir, let's do one thing. You are saying you don't have a job. I agree. But you must be having work. So he says, what do you mean? When I say, you give me work, don't give me salary. So your problem is solved, because job means you have to give me salary.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can always give me work without salary, isn't it? He says, what is this proposal?
Mhm.
Because I have to work here. That is what my target is, that I have to
Yeah.
work in organizations like either Alpha Level or L&T had a dairy division at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is my area of focus, where I can contribute
Mhm.
with my knowledge, not to one factory. Maybe I will visit 100 factories. I can upgrade all of them. I can help
Mhm.
them in building better products. That
Yeah.
is my dream. I don't want to bound myself into four walls. So it was a very unique thing, but thankfully they trusted me. And then when Tetra Pak Alpha Level got merged, I was
Mhm.
transferred to from Alpha Level to Tetra Pak.
Yeah.
So all the aseptic dairy products, they were facing problem. And then Mrs. Leena Poonawalla, who was chairman of Tetra Pak India, MD India, they had a JV with NDDB. So there were some issues in the quality related. That was the time when I had a lot of interaction with Dr. Kurian and his team. In a very early in my career, I was so lucky that I had to work with Dr. Kurian and his team. And I
Mhm.
made presentations to Dr. Kurian where I told him, sir, you are wrong. And
Oh.
it was like such a big courage to say this, but that because I was so confident that my data and
Mhm.
my work is so strong, and what
Mhm.
Dr. Kurian is saying is not right,
Mhm.
because it is hurting Tetra Pak's it is, you are defaming Tetra Pak's technology in one way.
Mhm.
And technology is fantastic.
Yeah.
So I was so convinced on technology.
Mhm.
I says, no, this cannot be an argument. And
Mhm.
thankfully, I had a full support from my management, Mrs. Poonawalla and Mr. H.K. Gupta, who was
Mhm.
GM at that time in
Yeah.
Alpha Level. It was great support, and that
Mhm.
was a turning point. And during that presentation, Dr. Kurian decided India should launch clean milk production campaign, because it was a milk quality which was creating problem, not the technology.
Mhm.
So that is how the clean milk production campaign started, and then a lot of things followed. Then I had the opportunity to work on various juice projects
Yeah.
met many great people like
Mhm.
Mr. Prakash Chauhan of Fruity,
Mhm.
Mr. Adi Godrej of Godrej, and many other entrepreneurs. And today, when I see Tropicana and other products, that was my initiative. One of the most satisfying part was that The straw on the fruity pack was my launch in India.
Wow. Wow.
So drinking straw was my launch, my responsibility when I was interested.
Yeah.
From there, then I realized that I think technocrat will not rise up to the position of a senior management. It will limit up to departmental head. From there, I went to MBA to IIM Ahmedabad, and after that came into policy environment. Then worked with on policy environment, WTO negotiations, the Mr Sharad Pawar and team, and so many other people. And then, while working on the policy environment and WTO, I got interested into law. So now I did my law, and today I'm practicing in Supreme Court. So from dairy technologist village to Supreme Court of India. So this is a journey which is very weird but exciting.
I think like super exciting for me as well, because what I wanted to add, the journey that you have highlighted, I have talked to I have talked to people like who are much senior than me and who have actually worked in the organization that you have actually supported. So one of the stories that I wanted to tell you is like we had a daily dialogue with a very senior CEO in India, and then he told us like when he was starting his career and he had his first meeting with Dr. Kurian, and he was advised not to talk, only to listen, because like when seniors are talking and then you have to listen. So you were, when you said that, okay, you had the guts to tell Dr. Kurian that no, like I think like this is where your understanding might not be precise. I think that is already a very good statement. And yet at a stage when you are like very young. And next thing that is very personal is about the fruity. Yeah, because everyone who would have like grown up in 1990s and early 2000s would have drank fruity. And one of the key challenges was when you missed your straw from the fruity pack. So this is what I wanted to tell you. Okay? Yeah, that's such a great innovation. The only reason one would buy fruity because it had a straw, it was so easy to drink that. Yeah. So like super exciting. Like you have seen a generational shift within the sector. Please tell me, how do you see Indian dairy in 1990s versus Indian dairy in early 2000 versus now? Do you see any difference in the approach that people have? Do you see any difference that has come up?
Yes. See, if you look into, at that time, it was only liquid milk and either paneer and some butter, which is again Amul, or milk powder. We were basically in commodities. From commodity dairy business, which is liquid milk, milk powder, white butter, or ghee, and SMP. These were the major portfolios. Products were either Amul or multinationals. And at that time, purchasing power was also not there. Chocolate was luxury, ice cream was luxury, and alternate to dairy product was basically sweetmeats. And we have seen those days. During my childhood, I remember that during summers in city like Delhi, there used to be ban on mithais because milk was in shortage. That was the time, even our lifetime. So it is not that I'm talking of a generation back. So we have seen that. So mithai used to become like laddu, aapko mil jayega to besan ka, bundi ka, but mithai, doodh ki mithai nahi milti thi. Because there used to be shortage in milk, and milk was only for liquid consumption, like household consumption, not for commercial use. So that was the time. And today we are surplus. And milk, I remember DMS booths still exist in Delhi in some nook and corner of gardens. And there used to be, I remember I used to go when I used to come to my Nani's place in Delhi. We used to go early morning to fetch those glass bottles of DMS. We used to, in the early morning, I used to take glass of steel glass with us. We used to go to Mother Dairy booth and take the half a liter fresh, and used to drink cold milk, me and my cousins, directly from the booth. Those were the days. Today, everything is available. Wide range of products are available. A lot of value-added products are available. Things have become cost effective because of rising purchasing power. Means affordable, let me put that way. And best part is, look at the curd. Full of examples. I remember I did my training in Amul doing my graduation. I remember that buttermilk, which used to come from butter churn, it used to be drained. वो effluent था. Today, same buttermilk I am purchasing in Delhi and consuming by paying 50 rupees a liter, which used to be drained. Now, this is a shift. Understanding about the product, technology made it possible. Consumers have accepted it. Logistics and distribution have made difference. So, a lot of things have improved. Similarly, curd, product like curd, which was always a household preparation, today we only buy from outside. I don't think my wife ever makes curd at home. This is what consumer behavior has changed. This is what has one side ignorance of a consumer, loss of traditional knowledge. On the other side, increasing per purchasing power or per capita income has changed the dynamics of dairy. So one side, consumer is becoming ignorant. Consumers are not becoming intelligent when it comes to product choice. Please, they think that they understand. No, they only know what is written on the label, but they don't understand the art of making food, which our parents were knowing it.
Yeah.
So knowledge about food has gone down. Purchasing affordability has gone up. That's why the shifting from house to market. Ready-made consumption is increasing, and that is a major shift in dairy business. Dairy industry is heading for disaster in India.
Please elaborate. I'm very curious about this point.
See, what we have done in dairy business, we have moved into to increase the milk production. We have started artificial insemination. What we have done to increase the milk production, we have only focused on quantity.
Yeah.
In the process, we have diluted the quality of milk. So total solids and milk has gone down.
Yeah, agreed.
What has happened? If solids have gone down, it means rest is water.
Yeah.
So precisely. In India, what we are doing, we are transporting water, we are not transporting solids.
Completely
so when you transport more of a water, less of a solid, your cost of production of a product will increase, whether it is mithai, whether it is milk powder, whether it is ghee or anything. So what will happen? Indian dairy industry is going to become expensive. And when you are making dairy industry expensive, you are in a globalized economy. There is a growing threat of rising imports, number one. Cost of production of milk will increase because now you are only giving water, less of a solid. So farmer will not get good price because pricing is based on the solid and fat, which is going down. Effort of farmer is going up, but his realization is going down. In order to improve the nutrition, he has to now feed expensive concentrate. It means his cost of production will further increase. This is heading for one side, the farmer income will go down because if you are doing pricing based on quality of milk, SNF and fat, milk price realization will be down. Only focus is on production, which is volume, which is mainly water. Products which are going to be made from Indian milk will be expensive. And consumer will shift from dairy products to alternate products. Like, let me ask you a very simple thing today. Instead of mithai, I will prefer chocolate because today chocolate is becoming cheaper than mithai. It used to be other way around. Mithais were cheaper, chocolates were expensive. But in alternate products are becoming cheaper. And milk is becoming expensive. And this is a disaster for Indian dairy industry. So my request is, we have to seriously relook into our artificial insemination program, that we must not use any semen where total solids of the progeny is less than 12 or 13% or 14%. It means the whole focus of Holstein Friesian semen for AI is a wrong decision.
The thing that you have picked up is about this Holstein Friesian. Sometimes I also wonder, is there a lobby that is pushing so much for CBHF, or most of the companies have already invested in high yielding cattle and now they have a product that they need to sell and that's why they're pushing into the market? Because there have been talks in US like where the farmers have like rather started switching from Holstein Friesians to jerseys because yield is higher, fats or total solids are higher, as well as they are generally A2 milk. So now this concept of A1 and A2 is also there. So I do agree with these things. But one thing that you have picked up about the imports. So far, I think that we are very tightly closed and we regulate our imports and exports. But one thing that we have observed in our work, that somehow willingly, unwillingly, that international prices do impact the regional prices. So things might get very expensive for consumers. Still, our processors are not making that big of a margin and our farmers are still poor. So what do you think, like what should we be doing like in this? Because recently we quit RSCP because, okay, we had threat for our dairy related thing. Now we are going in, and we have started negotiation with Australia. And this is where I heard that Mr. Tikat said, okay, if there's going to be dairy, we have to like really oppose it. But I'm not sure. should we even, as a sane country, should we actually look into the pros and cons of this before we like become very sentimental about that topic? Would be great to get your perspective on this.
See, market is a ruthless place. It has no place for sentiments.
Yeah.
We have to accept that. Whatever is your political ideology, whatever is your liking or disliking, market has its own way of working.
Yeah.
Tell me one simple thing. As a consumer, you and me or all the viewers, those who are watching this program, how many times we go to the market and look at the nationality of the product and buy it? Or because it is from a small farmer, I will buy it. If it's from multinational, I will not buy it. That's not the way consumer decide. We talk a lot of things emotionally on TV screen or in public forum, but when it comes to the fact of life in as a consumer, these things doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The consumer is looking for a value for money, whether it's from Indian farmer or comes from international farmer.
Yeah.
He is loyal to his money. All those discussions are only up to drawing room, not in the marketplace. We have to accept this fact of life. So these issues are important. And that's what I'm saying. When we are a part of the game, when we are in a dairy business globally, and we are one of the important player in dairy business, you cannot bring ideology into marketplace. That doesn't work. Whether farmer leader says or political leader says or NGO says, they are simply doing their own vested interest. Farmer leaders are doing politics, politicians anyway do politics, NGOs try to make their existence visible, so they are making noise.
Yeah.
But they are not talking logical. The point here comes up is, we know how my competitors are operating. Cost of production of milk, for example, in New Zealand is suppose 20 rupees a liter.
Yeah.
And my cost of production of milk is 25 rupees a liter. Agenda is very clear how we can become competitive. Whether I have to change the breed, whether I have to change the feed, whether I have to improve the healthcare, whether I have to improve the automation, whatever I have to do. That is the only way to benchmark ourselves. Without benchmarking, without talking logic, we are only trying to become emotional on everything. I think we are only trying to cover up our gaps, and we will head for further disaster, because in this process, we will lose time for recovery. And tomorrow, as a trader, suppose I am a trader and I am getting ghee in international market at 200 rupees. Even if I have to pay 50% custom duty, I will make it 300 rupees. And if Indian dairy is selling milk at 400, 500 rupees, I will sell at 325. Who will buy? And if I guarantee the purity of ghee, what is the problem? Then you say, why you are importing? Because that's my business. So point here comes up is that we have to understand this. Now, you cannot continue to increase the custom duty because today you are part of international community.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. So today issue is not politics, but efficiency.
Precisely.
And dairy industry must benchmark. All private, cooperative, government department must benchmark. Not that end product, we are great. Now, this is only a illogical argument. We are great, fine, feel happy. But fact of the matter is, are you the best milk producer? Is your quality the best? Is your feed availability the best? Is your animal getting the best nutrition? Is feed affordable to farmer? Is dairy product affordable to consumer? Point here is that we have to benchmark. And I'm not saying that you can do overnight, but where is the plan?
Yeah.
And without plan, without focus, if we are doing it, then what is the logic? So my only concern with all the so-called intellectuals, those who keep making noise on behalf of farmer, how many times, farmer leaders told government of India, we need a fodder policy? None. Have you ever heard a single farmer talking about that we need a fodder policy for my dairy animals?
No.
Or I need a feed policy in dairy animals? So they all talk politics. Give me subsidy. Give me this. They all look for taxpayers' lollipops. The taxpayer is giving money and demand only lollipops instead of performance.
Yeah.
And this is wrong for any economic activity, including dairy.
Completely agree. So actually, यहाँ पे दो चीजें we have observed, sir. So one thing is that definitely efficiency on small holding farms is very poor, because and also collection of milk becomes a hectic task and even is very cost intensive. Secondly, like one thing that also comes up is like, okay, just imagine if it's a village level collection center, 50 of the farmers are pouring good quality milk, one comes and pours a poor quality milk. So we have actually contaminated the whole batch. And this is where the big problem is. But whenever we talk about as a sector about larger farms, this is where we get a very severe pushback that okay, this is where large farms are not efficient, like when there should be like more of a small farm. So I think like it's more of a mental setup that we need to change, and also acceptance should be more for like larger farms coming in India, because at the end we have to feed such a big population. We are already 1.45 billion people, and we have to ensure that we feed our population in a very sustainable manner, and also ensuring that. So I do agree that like we should have an open market, but also we should also try and see that how we make our systems efficient.
I'm just saying that when people say small farmers will say small farms versus big farms and this and that and all those things, who is right and who is wrong and who is good and who is bad, I feel it is a waste of time of discussion. I say they bring the numbers on the table.
Yeah.
What is the cost of production of a small farmer? What is the cost of production of a big farmer? If you feel you have to protect the small farmers, then agenda should be how to make them efficient. Because just because political will not make the difference. That's what I'm saying. Market is a ruthless place. I'm not going to buy a substandard product just because it is coming from small farmer. No consumer buys it.
Yes.
And I'm not going to give premium just because you are a multinational and giving me a lousy product. That also will not work.
Sure.
So point here comes is that end of the day, consumer is very clear that he is looking for value for money. I'm not saying cheap. I'm not saying low cost. His value for money.
Yeah.
For me, 200 rupees liter is good enough. For some, 50 rupees liter is good enough. Somebody is very happy to pay 1,000 rupees for a ghee. Another is also happy to pay 1,500 rupees for ghee. Point here comes up is what you are doing to address the problem which you are trying to address. We all talk on perceptions. So point here comes up is if we are wrong as a nation on certain parameters, we have to improve. As simple as that.
Yeah.
So I think mindset is required. Our challenge is not market. Our challenge is not production. Our challenge is not money. As a country, our challenge is mindset.
So we have already entered 2022. We had like last 2 years, or let's say last 3 years, have been very tight for the market. So what has been your observations in the last 2 years, and what do you expect from 2022?
See, good part of dairy is that if I say that in COVID time, when all the markets were closed, mithai shops were closed, all dairy plants were flooded with milk and all powder plants were working at their best capacity ever.
Yeah.
So good part is that we have not wasted our dairy. It is converted into powder. Okay. Thankfully, because of various reasons today, all that milk powder is consumed in the form of mithais and ice creams and bakery products and whatnot. That's right. Today, if you see that mithai, it all gives you taste of a milk powder, not of a fresh milk.
Yeah.
Those who are from dairy industry and those who have a sensory analysis or sensory evaluation capability, just by taste you can make out it is not from fresh, it is from milk powder or milk filled with milk powder.
Milk powder.
So, now, as I said, that challenge is going to be tough for dairy industry now onwards. COVID somehow survived, I will say good, bad, ugly. Somehow we are not looking into as a normal time. So it is not right to say that this was right or wrong. But 2022 onwards, dairy industry has many, many challenges. As I said that our total solids in milk is going down.
Yeah.
We must immediately take a policy view that no more Holstein Friesian. Now you may say people have created their dairy farms, breeding farms and all that. Let us give them incentive to change the breeds, because they cannot decide the future of India. Maybe you have to change the 1,000 bulls to those who are producing animals. Give them incentive, because to save 1,000 bulls, you cannot put the whole dairy sector of millions of tons at stake.
Yeah.
So it will be a wrong decision or a stupid decision to sustain existing AI practices. It must change because it is eroding our strength and fundamentals of dairy industry. We are producing a wrong, expensive product. Let me put that bluntly. And political leaders in ministries and agriculture, I don't know whether NDDB is on board or not, or what bureaucracy of India is thinking, what ministers are thinking, what MPs are thinking. Sooner we correct, we will save India's dairy industry. Otherwise, we are heading for disaster. Because imports will become cheaper and we will continue to suffer because of high cost. And farmer will also become bankrupt because there is not going to be any buyer for that. Our Indian dairy-based industry will suffer. Sweet meats will become out of affordability, bakery will take care, chocolates, other confectionery will fill the gap, because people will continue to do the giftings. Sweet meat we have a sweet tooth as a country. We love sweets. If dairy products are becoming expensive, or mithais are becoming expensive, other products will fill the gap. Instead of, khoe ka laddu, I will go for bundi ka laddu or besan ka laddu. But I will buy laddu, but not dairy based. So those things will happen. So that is what we have to consider. Second area we have to look at is, with the growing population, we need, already suffering from feed, many like edible oil we are talking about, our pressure on agriculture resources will increase. We already have wrong agriculture policies supported by MSP. MSP has created more problems for Indian, like our wrong AI policy has created problem for dairy. Our wrong MSP policy has created problem for agriculture sector. We are producing what we don't need, and what we need we are importing. Okay, edible oil we need, we are importing. Pulses, we are at break even. One fine crop failure, we are again back to imports. So we are on certain crucial crops, we are at break even. In many other things, we are in problem. And we are only surplus in carbohydrates. And that is a wrong policy we have to twist. But again, MSP is a disaster, which is further endorsed by Dr. Swaminathan by giving a wrong formula. That cost of production plus 50%. In this formula, there is no criteria for quality and productivity. It means more inefficient you are, more MSP you will get.
More MSP you get.
It means inefficiency is promoted by Swaminathan formula. This is illogical in any competitive economy. This formula of Dr. Swaminathan must change. And that's what I'm saying. Dr. Kurian's cooperative model is good model versus Dr. Swaminathan's MSP model. So even in other agriculture domain, we have to go back to what Dr. Kurian did for Amul or in Gujarat. I think for every crop, we have to focus there. And give support to farmer organization when it comes to infrastructure support, technology support, policy support, whatever it is. That is the future of India, whether it is dairy or any other crop. So what we have to look at is this aspect very, very crucially. And then third issue comes up is, consumers are becoming more of convenience conscious. So kitchen will be only for reheating purpose. You will have gadgets in kitchen just for reheating or finishing touch, but you will not know how to make recipe. When today people don't know how to make curd, forget about, they will know all other complicated recipes. So this is going to be a change in society. So processed food, ready to eat, convenience food. But dairy itself is going to be very expensive, as I am telling you. So the new domain will be blended dairy products. Means I will have dairy products like, for example, dalia, where it is a mixture of cereals with dairy. Or some other form mixed with dairy products. Because of protein, because of fat, because of whey proteins and other benefits. So dairy alone will have tough time. But innovative products based or having a dairy as a component will be in the market.
So what I'm like listening is, पहली बात तो है कि we need to ensure, let's say, for example, different components of food. So we have proteins, we have carbohydrates. So first thing that we need to ensure is a balanced diet for a nation, for such a big population. Also, milk, how much milk is being consumed or something else is being consumed is pretty much more nutrition driven. So we are talking about like how to ensure that country has enough nutrition for its people. We might also have to come up with innovative product that is more India centric. And one thing that you said about down the line, how our kitchens are going to change. Actually, I met someone from Finland who happens to be manufacturer of pizzas, and they have made some investment in India. And they said, what we see, convenience cooking or convenience kitchen would be the biggest thing in India, because the kind of, okay, if you're already in bigger cities, both the husband and wife are working, they have to be like on the go all the time. So they will start having more frozen pizzas. We are just lacking certain cold chain, else like it would have already become a very big market so far. So they are actually playing very big on these things. Yeah. So, sir, like we are already heading towards 1 hour of our time. I actually have two questions for you. One thing that I always wonder, price transparency in India is like, why is it not that big? Because we are still very much dependent on what is happening abroad on the GTTs and other things. Why is it not existent here?
Commodity trading is the biggest black money generator in India.
Okay.
And nobody wants transparency. So any reform you bring, whether you bring futures market or you try to do digitization or you want to do e-NAM, electronic, national agriculture market, or you want to do any transparency, like these 3 farm laws, they were bringing transparency into the system.
Yeah.
Everything is opposed. So as a country, we love to remain in dark, talk all idealistic things, but we are basically a country of traders and we don't want to follow any transparency.
Yeah.
So anything, see, wherever you try to bring transparency in the system, you will always find opposition. And we are, instead of focusing on our efficiency, take example, why commodity trading is banned. How many user industry, whether poultry or dairy or other feed industry, or none of the corporate is interested in investing in backend, but they want cheapest raw material so that their value-added products give them good profit. So because they cannot upgrade their efficiency, if raw material prices are going up, they say, kill the business so that I get cheaper raw material. I'm saying if you produce your raw material higher than your demand, prices will not increase. Invest in backend, they don't want to invest. So here it is all self-centric policy environment. And politicians also, and sometimes bureaucracy also fall in this trap. Instead of ensuring that we will not tamper with market forces, you are suffering from pain, you tell us what you want. You want backward support, you want seeds, you want extension service, we will give you. But none of them is demanding services, technical support, technology. Everybody is either wanting tax concession or subsidy or ban the opposite party's business so that I am surviving. Unfortunately, this is the policy environment of India as of today when it comes to commodity space. In other areas, we have realized that we have to become competitive. So other areas are becoming, because there are more, I will say that intellectual capital and more data is available. But when it comes to agriculture related commodities, one side it is politics, because one side, if either farmer is suffering, if prices drops, or if prices increases, then consumer suffers.
Yeah.
And both are vote banks for the political class, farmers as well as consumers. So instead of focusing on fundamentals, they look for quick fix.
Yeah.
And quick fix is they have power to stop or start any policy environment. They, instead of changing the fundamentals and working on actual work, they take arbitrage position that what suits them politically, they take a call. In the process, they derail the economic development. So I always say that good economics is good politics, but in India, the politics always fail economics.
Yeah.
And we have to yet mature as a society. This clearly shows that our political class is not confident about their own acts. And that's why they have to come to such short-term measures.
Makes sense. Yeah. So like we are, as I mentioned, like we are already at 1 hour. So I'll come to you with the last question. If you have to give an advice to your younger self, 20 years, what advice would you give to your younger self?
I will say focus on innovation, focus on technology, spend more time in understanding market, and look for, I'm not saying you like a startup culture with innovation. Don't only look at apps, culture, and other things, because there is a space for good products always. So start your small venture. I'll be very happy to start my small venture if I go back 20 years. Maybe I'll set up a small dairy shop, because I know if I give good quality stuff, consumer will come to me. I'm now confident very clearly. So it may take time, a year or two, but starting your own venture with a good quality, people may crib initially. You may face, there's no sale or this or that. Don't put all eggs in one basket. If you have to spend 1 crore or 10 lakh rupees, don't put 10 lakhs in your shop. You start with 1 lakh. Keep 9 lakh as a reserve. Start small. Understand customer. Adjust your requirements or changes or product profiles or product requirements as per the consumer need. so that whoever comes once to your shop should not leave you because of your quality and service. And that is a strong foundation. And once you have a money rotation, then nothing is stopping.
Mm-hmm.
And think of expansion, think big, but start small. Without compromising on your ethics, your quality, your businesses. There will be temptation on margins. You by doing this manipulation, by doing adulteration, by doing underweight, by doing all sorts of nonsense, one can try to increase the margin, but customer is not idiot. He knows he is looking for alternate. The day he will have a better alternate, he will first leave me and go to my competitor, because so far I was not doing justice with him. Minute he got a chance, he will leave me. So never take consumer limitation or consumer compulsion as a business opportunity. If you think that he has no option, that's why he's coming and I can exploit him, this is worst business thinking ever anywhere in the world. So that is my way of looking at is that customer understands, the market respects your quality and performance, stick to quality and performance. Instead of 2 months break even, you may take 4 months as a break even, but that 4 months will give you a strong foundation for next 40 to 100 years.
Wow. I think like for me, the key takeaway is consumer compulsion shouldn't be the business. So this is like really powerful, because I have also seen a lot of people pushing their consumers because he does not have an alternative. So yeah, thanks a lot, sir, for such a great talk, because I have actually been craving for talking to you for such a long time. And I'm pretty much sure our audience would also find the discussion that we had very, very insightful. I must also acknowledge that we have also picked some very critical questions about the sector. And for example, our genetics policies, or maybe like we are talking about the feed fodder policy that we do not have. We also talking about the pricing mechanism should also be discussed at one point of time. Down the line, like within few months, I would again come back to you to get your valuable time.
I will say that to all your viewers, all your audiences, if they find these issues are there, they should also write.
Yes.
It's not that they should listen and keep quiet.
Mm-hmm.
They should join the movement if really want to save Indian dairy industry. Mm-hmm. I think all the viewers have to play a role. You cannot remain like on sideline, yeah, it was a good discussion. That's not enough. Yeah. My request is what step you have taken for the support and development of Indian dairy industry. That matters, not Vijay Sardana or Prashant, because we are just two. We have to create a mass movement for change.
Completely. So with this, I would like to thank you for your valuable time and talking to us and our audience.